Hello. Welcome back to We Did a Podcast, episode 34, David.
34.
Nothing special about that number, but that doesn't mean we can't be hyped about it, David.
That's true. We can come up with a joke about it by the end of the episode.
It'll give us time. How is everybody today? How y'all doing out there?
Oh, I thought you were asking me for a second.
I don't care how you're doing,
Just
David.
in a big way.
We caught up already. We've been hanging out for a minute.
That's true.
Plugging in cables, setting levels, deciding whether or not we want that light on or not.
Yeah.
We went with not,
the big
by the
decisions,
way.
yeah. This is another after hours podcast. I feel like the vibe is different when we do it late.
It usually is. I think our vibes are different. But you know what? I feel like I'm usually a lot like sleepy by the time this rolls around. But I've just been choring all day. Slam that Red Bull.
There you go.
I got wings, man.
Whoa. It's been a long day for me, but you know what? I'm here for you. Not you, Frank, the listener. I'm here for the listener.
Nice.
Today, we're doing our second year in review.
It's an annual thing at this point. Our annual year-end review.
Yeah.
And the way we know best, a top three, bottom three
top
list.
three, bottom three. I feel like we should do bottom. Don't we always do bottom first?
We always do bottom first, except when we were joking about top three, bottom three things about Danny.
Yeah, we never
Which
got
we
to do
could
that
still
episode.
do. He doesn't have to be here.
We could just do it this episode.
We'll just send it directly to him.
It would be meaner because he won't be here to even witness
I'll burn it on a CD and mail it to him so he can tangibly hold our hate in his hands.
I love that idea. I'm 100% behind it.
That's
Let's change the episode right now. I can come up with that on the spot.
Oh yeah, I've had this list for years. I carry it on me.
Ooh, I hope he's listening to this. Well, in all seriousness, we're going to talk about our favorite moments of the year, our least favorite moments of the year. And Frank, why don't you kick us off? Give us your bottom third.
My third bottom, David.
Yeah.
Which I refer to all the time, is Jeffrey Epstein getting suicided.
Whoa.
And you know, there are a lot of things that I have enjoyed that have come out of this, and primarily, mostly, only, I'm talking about the memes.
Endless memes. So many Epstein
So many memes. And a Paso teacher just got in trouble for putting Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself on one of his exemption forms for finals.
Wow.
Yeah, he put it in one of the lines on the form.
That's hilarious. I didn't hear about this.
But I put it in my bottom because it's just an in-your-face reminder of how powerful the powers of be are.
Yeah.
That this dude with his black book of enormously powerful people, we could only assume, who have done horrible things. And this guy just died under mysterious circumstances in his cell. He got suicided, if you will.
Yeah.
And for the most part, outside of the memes, it's just been forgotten. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. If anything, the memes make it a little more depressing because it's just become a joke.
Well, it's like all we have to hold on to at this point.
Yeah.
It's like, remember, guys, Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself.
I guess, but it's just there's no action around it.
None.
That's the funny part. Everyone's willing to acknowledge it, make a joke about it. Hey, let's all have a good little laugh here. But seriously, something really bad is happening. Something very sinister happened.
We're forgetting about the follow through, which is the most important part. Okay, well then, who killed Jeffrey Epstein?
Which is funny because, I don't know, in China, for instance, it's like the opposite. There's no funny memes going around. Oh, look at us. Well, they don't have anything to share funny memes on, I guess.
I've been seeing.
That's the point.
Well, we follow different Instagram pages because if you're in the 2A community at all, then you're seeing these nice memes about people on social media being like, "You think you're crazy if you say you can take on the U.S. Army with your semi-automatic rifles," and then it cuts to the clip of that cop getting shot with the bow and arrow at the protests.
Oh yeah, that's pretty crazy.
That's pretty nuts.
Yeah, and China is interesting because they have no guns.
No.
There's no guns going on. And they're protesting hard.
They're protesting real hard. Those people are getting shot in the street.
Oof, we'll have to see how that all ends. Man, we're really kicking it off on a dark... That's actually kind of a good comparison, though, because it's another thing that, for some reason, the news just doesn't talk about. Everything about that is just on the internet. The internet is just... we can talk about whatever we want. I haven't seen a single news channel talk about Epstein killing himself. Obviously,
It's like only
Obviously.
open source social media stuff. You know what I mean?
It's weird. It's a whole platform of just how to, I don't know, bring up a talking point. I just wish that people could go a step further with it. You know, back to what you were saying though, we know, like, it has to be that some of the people involved with this Epstein thing are like politicians.
Oh, 100%.
Maybe even past presidents. They were talking about something how like Bill Clinton had taken dozens of flights with Jeffrey Epstein. And it's just like, how close are you to someone? You know what?
So tell me, Bill, you only took flights where there weren't underage girls being prostituted?
And you heard about...
You were only on the good flights?
There's a painting that they found at the Epstein mansion on the island or whatever that was Bill Clinton in a dress. And that's like fact. That's not like some weird thing. That's... Well, it is a weird thing.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Just because it's true
happened.
doesn't mean it can't be super weird.
It's strange, man. And not to say, you know, oh, Bill Clinton is the... I'm sure there's tons of people from different
like people
backgrounds.
who you would be like, oh yeah, I could see that coming, and then people you would never guess.
And
you know what I
that's
mean?
the point.
Because
and that's why that guy got
a
killed.
predator's whole thing is like camouflage.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Really crazy.
Like it's mind blowing. You know what I mean? It's like we always talk about these conspiracies and stuff, but it's just like I am convinced that Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself. At the very least, the most innocent thing that could have happened would be Jeffrey Epstein actually was going to kill himself, and they let him do it. That's best case scenario.
Yeah.
Like they pulled the guards, they turned off the video cameras, and they just kind of gave him a little push towards the edge.
Yeah.
That was the end of that. But they probably had that dude killed.
That guy was killed. Didn't they? Now I feel like I'm just saying stuff that I don't know if it's true or not. But didn't they have a coroner report and they said that it was not like the way that he had?
It was
his
like
neck is broken in a way that doesn't happen.
I'm pretty sure it was like a third party coroner that like the family had. I'm pretty sure his brother paid for it.
Yeah, and it was like it does not match what you would have from
Somebody hanging
yourself.
himself.
Yeah. Ooh. Kicking it off right, and let's continue with some more politics.
I know, right? I feel like that's what this bottom's
all
mostly going to be,
politics.
you know?
My bottom
Hot
three
button issues.
is also just the bumbling and fumbling of the Donald Trump impeachment.
Oh my goodness. I almost had it on my list too, but it was too frustrating. And
Yeah.
because, you know, you want to get excited, but then it's just like, at the end of the day, it's like, did we do anything?
No.
Did anything happen?
It's interesting. I feel like it's given me this level of apathy about politics that I didn't have even at the end of our last year in review.
Maybe that's their plan all along,
I
David.
guess.
They're trying to kill us.
It's just
Too many grassroots movements. They're trying to just run us into the ground, man.
maybe. They're trying to keep the man down. Well, except in this case, it wouldn't be the man. It'd be
The
people.
man's trying to
They're trying
keep
to
us
keep the
down,
people
David.
down.
That's how it goes.
There we go. It's late. Anyway, it's just like...
David's trying to be a revolutionary, but he's wearing his Mr. Rogers sweater, and it's just not working out.
It's a wonderful day in the neighborhood. But seriously, the country is at such an ideological divide, and it's just so frustrating to see people just be like, well, there's no way I'd ever support that when there would be obvious evidence. But also, it's just that, like, the Democratic Party has done such a terrible job of framing impeachment about moving things in the right way. They dropped the ball already. You know what I mean? This is like the second time they're trying to... This is really like the third time they're trying to get this impeachment thing going. Like the Stormy... You remember Stormy Daniels?
Yeah.
Remember that this year?
Yep.
And
It
that
was
was
a long year. Like, what were we talking about the other day? I was saying it happened months ago, and it happened in August, and I was like, whoa, dude. I legit thought it was like the beginning of the year. It's a long year.
I don't remember. It was like a movie or something.
Yeah,
You're like,
yeah.
oh yeah, that was way earlier. Like, no,
Yeah,
that
I came in like February,
that was
March.
3 months ago, man.
Yeah.
That just happened.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I don't really want to go into that anymore. It's just similar to the Epstein thing, though. You would think with all the knowledge and technology and the ability to spread information that people would just be able to get it together.
I mean, you would think. You would hope.
But no.
The problem is, like, there's a lot of people on both sides who are just, like, 100% convinced that they are correct.
Oh,
you know
yeah,
what I mean? There is,
for
like,
sure.
no wiggle room. And that's...
At least in Epstein, everyone agrees.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Everyone's in agreement.
It's crazy. So one thing we can all agree on this year.
Yeah. Epstein didn't kill himself. Oh no, I'm gonna get in trouble though.
Ooh, boy. Well, speaking of things that we could all agree on, I'm gonna move on to my number 2 bottom of 2019, David.
Ooh, okay.
My second least favorite
Saying we can all agree on it.
part of the year. A letdown like I haven't felt in a really long time.
Oh.
Talking about the release of Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, David.
Oh,
Let's
man.
talk about Scary Stories again.
I was just talking about how there was no movies that were outright stinkers, and that's one of them.
Yeah.
That is a stinker, man.
My goodness. Like, when you compare expectation to payoff,
Yeah.
I can't think of a bigger margin outside of A Way Out, something we've also crapped all over on this channel.
I'm trying to think if there's a way that we could talk about it that would be different than in the past. And I honestly, I've forgotten so much of the movie. Like, I've tried to intentionally block it out. It was such a bad idea. The whole framing of the movie was terrible, and it's just not memorable at all.
It's like the best foot that they had was at the moment they were like, we should make a Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark movie. And then from beyond that point, it just went downhill. The acting's bad. The way that they smashed all the stories together is horrible. It takes away the best part of Scary. The whole reason Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark is so terrifying to read is because you read one isolated, terrifying story.
Yeah.
And then you start it all over again. You start a new story. And it's horrifying over and over again. As opposed to like nothing really having time to like play out.
Yeah.
And you having to shoehorn ideas into each other that had no business being together. Oh,
and then on
boy.
top of that, just the cast being, for a lot of it was just annoying. You know what I mean? Not even bad, but just like these
It was
characters
an annoying
are
group of
unlikable.
teenagers. Yeah.
Yeah. The best thing we can hope for is that they pull Suicide Squad or Ghostbusters and just redo it. In
Just
another couple
try
of years.
again. That'd be nice. Guillermo, why'd you put your name on that? Why would you even let them to use your name to trick people like us?
You see that
Let
thing
myself
sometimes,
get
though.
like so hyped.
You know who's super into that? Tarantino. He would always put his name on a bunch of like weird martial arts movies.
Yes.
And I get the Tarantino's thrilled about it.
Yeah.
But
That makes sense.
Most of the fans of his movies, though, aren't super into the martial art aspect. I mean, Kill Bill's really the only one where martial arts are even part of the story, really. Most of them have nothing to do with martial arts at all.
Homeboy had like a few moves in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but that's just from him being like a stuntman.
Yeah.
It's not even like a martial arts thing.
Yeah, and it was and just a little fight scene. You know what I mean? It's not like a big like Kill Bill. It seemed there was more attention focused on that.
They were all assassins.
Yeah. Man, Scary Stories though. Too bad it wasn't Guillermo del Toro doing it, or they could have made it a Netflix miniseries.
Oh my God. Miniseries would have been the way to go. Netflix is doing all those limited series now. And that would have been a dope project. Come on, Mr. and Mrs. Obama. Where were you at for that one? You guys couldn't scoop up that idea?
Thanks, Obama.
Idiots.
All right. Well, my number 2 is close to home on the channel here. It is the departure of Danny again. Danny leaving 2. That was a letdown of the year.
Yeah.
Not on him, obviously we want Danny to go out and
When your friends move
do
on
his
to bigger and
best.
better things, it's a very strange feeling because you're
Yeah.
so happy for them, but also very sad for you.
yeah. Faces are changing, Frank. Friends rearranging.
We never talked about the end, David.
Yeah. It's a bummer. And the channel having Danny on was a delight. He'd obviously been on many times before moving back permanently.
He was our first guest ever.
But
Pretty much our only guest.
just playing music, getting it ready, and then, trying to figure out now what to do next music-wise.
Yeah.
A bummer. You know what I mean?
I don't know if we've talked about it, and it's funny that we're like having this conversation on record for the first time, but that's the biggest bummer of all. You know what I mean? Really enjoy our project that we have going together. And I mean, we're still going to continue on and do stuff.
We got to figure it out.
Yeah.
Which is funny because this is how the podcast started. The podcast started because we ended Phantom Kin.
We needed something to do.
We were like, let's do something new.
And we couldn't find a sax player who would stick.
Yeah. And this time around, it feels like almost like deja vu or something. Like, all right, Frank, should we try and do this together for a while? And then be like, well, we don't find the right people.
It's like trying to go around some giant hotel to find the exit, and then you realize you're right back where you started, and you've made no progress.
It's like, what are you in Vegas or something? Yeah. I was like, oh no, everything looks the same.
Which, I mean, surprisingly, I don't remember really getting lost in Vegas, which is insane.
Yeah, all the stereotypes.
One time, and it was the very first night.
Well, oh yeah, I guess that's true. The hotel I was staying at, the Wynn, was the most confusing one out of all of them. I had a hard time finding like the right elevators, but all the other hotels made a lot of sense to me. I was like, oh, here we go.
I mean, coming back in from decorating the car and trying to rejoin the reception was a little confusing, but
yeah, Green
Valley.
Valley
Also, like pretty drunk by that point.
Green Valley was pretty crazy too. The layout's like huge.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but Danny.
That guy.
We got Mary in the mix now, so maybe Phantom Kin will continue, maybe not. I mean, it just definitely won't be the same.
Either way.
I just thought it was really funny because our timing with doing our CLE on that thing you do is so close. And there's that thing in the movie where the band, spoiler alert, the Wonders break up, and that fictional jazz guy is telling the drummer, like, bands come and go. You just got to keep the music alive. I was like, yeah, you know what? That's true. But man, I hate
Wow.
starting projects.
Yeah.
Getting me to start something new is like the hardest thing for me to do.
What's the hardest part?
Getting me to continue, like
momentum. That's just how it works.
Momentum.
Dude.
That's 100% it. And it's just like, I don't want to write new songs. I'm just groaning the whole time in my head. So we'll see what happens.
You've grown a lot out loud.
I know.
Yeah.
You don't even know how many are going on just in my head. That's a lot. So, I don't know. We'll have to figure out what happens next, music-wise.
But who knows? Maybe the next step will be 2020's T2. You never know.
And that's the beautiful thing. You know what I mean? It does open up an era of possibilities. But cheers to young Daniel. Maybe he's listening to this.
Here's to you, Danny.
Silver lining is I've got a bunch of Andy time with Danny's dog, Durs.
Oh, David and his wife, Michelle, are currently fostering, Danny's dog, Andy, while he gets prepared for her out there. And she's just a delight. She's a good
delightful dog. What a good pup.
Oh, goodness.
T3 dogs. The whole T3. Andy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Rude.
All right, what's your top, man?
Well, I'm leaving. I feel attacked, so I'm getting out of here. I can't look Nico in the eye and still work with you throughout the rest of this thing.
Sorry, man.
It's okay. My T1 or my B1, my T1 B1, my T1 of the Bs.
Oh no,
that's for you, Danny. Nobody's here to spin this web with me anymore. Miss you, bud.
So is this your runner-up or?
Yeah, right. At least I know what the concept of a runner-up is. But on a more serious note,
okay.
For reals. I really struggled with putting it on my list, but honestly, when I think about 2019, this is the worst thing that sticks out in my head, and you might agree with me on this. The El Paso shooting at Walmart.
Number one for me as well, man.
It was terrible, you know what I mean? Obviously, things like this happen literally every day in this country. But it's just crazy when it happens at home. And for those of you that don't know El Paso, we're a very, peaceful community. It's not like we're the Ewoks or something.
Frequently rated one of the safest cities in the United States.
Yeah.
Usually 3, 2, even I've seen 1 on some lists, safest cities. And
people are generally extremely friendly. So I don't know, the day of when things were happening, that's one of the big things that was playing over and over in my head. It was somebody, especially when we found out it was this 21-year-old kid who drove 11 hours just to come kill Hispanics. He came to a place where it's mostly love. Right before we were recording, we were just talking about an El Paso thing happening. And that El Paso thing is the fact that everybody kind of knows each other. If you talk to a stranger in El Paso for 15 minutes, you're eventually going to figure out what your connection to them is.
Oh yeah.
And that's just the thing. So it really hurt to see so many people lose their lives and have their lives changed forever. All those people left behind.
And I'm trying to find it too, because I can't remember what the number is.
It was 22 killed and 24 injured.
Oh, not specifically that, but unfortunately, there's like a ranking of the deadliest mass shootings in the United States because there's so many of them. And the El Paso one is like 10 or something.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, to put it into perspective, the Parkland, Florida shooting was in the news all year. I mean, obviously it was a high school, so that's, it's a lot of younger people.
I mean,
But
and the kids and all the activism work the kids did afterwards really like kept that fire going.
At Parkland, 17 died and 17 were wounded. Like the El Paso shooting had more deaths. And it's kind of crazy. It's like, I feel like in El Paso, it's not forgotten, but on a national scale, it's forgotten within a week or two.
Well, it's just another shooting,
It's hard to put
It's
a focus
crazy.
on one. I also think this is the first time I feel like we're actually talking about this on the podcast too.
Yeah. I thought about that when I put it in my notes.
Yeah, I was thinking about that today when I was thinking about putting this thing in here. And then it kind of goes back to what I was saying about the Trump thing. There's such an ideological divide about what needs to be done to correct the situation that we've become comfortable with doing absolutely nothing and expect something to change. You know what I mean? And we could argue and debate about, what is the biggest contributing factor, or, the thing I hear most is like, well, why make laws if people are going to break laws anyways? And it's like, well, that is the nature of a law.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we don't make a law to prevent crime from happening. We make a law to enforce people who've broken crimes. You know what I mean? Like, you can't invent anything. You can't legislate anything that's going to stop a problem 100%. That's impossible. But I don't know, man. It is frustrating because something should have been done a long time ago.
Yeah,
you would think
either
after
way,
Sandy
no
Hook,
matter what side of the argument you're on, no
Yeah.
matter what you think the solution is, nothing's happening.
Nothing's happening.
Zero movement.
Yeah.
Nothing on one side or the other. Like, neither side is doing anything to combat this problem.
if you think it's guns, if you think it's mental health, if you think it's
Culture,
what has been done to address any of those three issues?
nothing.
Yeah, particularly. So that's disheartening, man. It's crazy that it seems like Americans, like United States citizens, have become so docile in just accepting whatever happens, when it feels like the creation of the country and like the original nature of the United States is the opposite of that. It's like, no, we're not going to put up with that. You know what I mean? We're going to figure
Exactly
this thing
what
out.
it was. It was people being
Yeah.
fed up.
Being fed up. And in this case, and maybe it's because we have the internet. Maybe it's because we can, I can send out a tweet about it. You know what I mean? I'm venting my anger or whatever. I don't know. It sounds dumb, but
Well, no, that's a big
seems
part
like
of it.
all of our energy is in. You know what I mean?
That and like things like this happen in other places, but like we are the main output of mass shootings. You know what I mean?
By
a huge
by
margin.
a factor of 1,000, maybe.
Yeah.
Like we're talking like, I think Canada had one last year. And then people are like, oh, well, there's knives or people drive through, blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, yeah, but...
That happens more in other countries. When people go on crazy, like, stabbing rampages.
But when someone goes on a stabbing rampage, they don't typically kill 20 people at a time and injure another 20. You know what I mean?
Just the really proficient ones.
I guess.
Well, like,
even
where you get high numbers like that is like Asian subways when everybody's just like so compact. It's just like too easy.
But even then, I would rather take a story about people being stabbed on the subway every week, because at least you can sew someone up. You know what I mean? Do people die from knife attacks? Obviously, yes. But if you go to like any surgeon in the world and be like, okay, what would you rather do? Stitch someone up who got stabbed by a knife, or try and stitch somebody up who just got shot with like a shotgun or something, or AR-15, or what? Fill in the blank, whatever gun you want.
Just some new doctor, and he's just like,
Yeah.
are there any like really bad splinters that need being like taken care of?
I actually haven't done any of these surgeries yet. If you could just wait until...
I'm waiting for my attending. I don't know where he is.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's horrible.
It is horrible.
It sucked. We all have loved ones who like work or shop in the area, and we were all thinking the same thing at the time. Like I was a mile down from where all that was happening. And with all the rumors and stuff, we had no idea what was going on.
It's amazing that neither of us knew anyone who was involved in it, really.
It's crazy. Like statistically, it's nuts.
Yeah, it's pretty insane.
Like I have the El Paso thing where like my mom, one of the ladies my mom works with is the aunt to the young couple that both got killed. That left the 3 young children behind. But it's astounding that I don't know anybody like on a first name basis who was there, which is nice.
You know, one more thing before we move on from this, and this is a little bit separate, but the morning that it happened, I remember seeing something about it on the internet like around 10 or 11 or something. It was early in the morning when it started. And it was a Saturday, I think, and I had nothing going on. And Michelle's dad was visiting. It was like a weird weekend. But I pretty much just watched the news for like 5 hours, it felt like. From like when that story started to 4 in the afternoon. And I don't know why I would just put myself in some like, you know, mentally and emotionally exhausting situation. But I mean, it was probably the same way for adults when 9/11 happened. It's like, how am I not going to see what's going on right now?
Well, I remember being like in the 5th grade and them having the news on TV.
Oh, yeah.
Because like it was important. We needed
spent
to
a
know
long
like, what was
time
happening. And they
watching
needed
that.
to indoctrinate us into the forever war. So
Yeah, obviously, got to get them young.
that's a thing.
But there was so much misinformation.
Yeah, that was a big part of it.
And it was crazy because I never thought about that before. Like, you hear about a mass shooting that happens in another city. You're not on Facebook or whatever where all the people who live in that city are sending out these different things. And we're talking about like...
And that's what social media in El Paso was that day.
That
you know
was.
what I mean?
It was like, oh, there's 2 shooters. There's people at the mall. They're driving around to different locations.
This is part of a coordinated effort.
Yeah, it just kind of snowballed. And it was like, no one really knew.
No.
Some guy just said something in a room that was like on fire. You know what I mean? And then everyone was just like, oh my gosh. Okay, what next? Man, the internet is inadvertently scary. I mean, this is like the 3rd time we've touched on this, but what a weird way the internet has like permanently shaped our lives. You know what I mean?
Technology just can be like scary if it gets out of hand. You know what I mean? Is that
more
foreshadowing? I don't know.
For reals, though.
We'll find out.
Well, that's all our bottoms. Let's
That's all we've done. Shown you all our bottoms.
Yeah, because I had the same top one. I mean, I feel like there's no other top one for any person from El Paso.
No. Just one more thing about that. Gave one more thing for like good old Mr. 1% Beto O'Rourke to just try and hold on to and tout over and over again. Just trying to get like hits. You know what I mean? That was one of the really annoying things. Him just really writing that.
And you know what else? Maybe that was part of... It wasn't even intentional that we didn't talk about this on the podcast. But at the time, I wouldn't have wanted, you know, like the week after it happened when we were recording or something. It didn't feel right.
No.
Like, what do we have to add to this conversation, really?
I just had a conversation with my DM about it on like Thursday. And when he brought it up, it kind of like took me back a step. Just like, well, I was not ready to like... talk about this right now.
It's really insane, man. But you know what I was going to say about Beto O'Rourke? When it happened, he was in Vegas doing a campaign event. And he had a response that was right there in that moment that seemed so sincere. And it was nice. But then every debate after that, like presidential debates when they started meeting, it became something that just kept being brought up.
Yeah, after the initial response, it became like a badge that he wore, like, I am from this town where it happened.
Mm-hmm. And then he started talking, and really, I mean, he was already going down in the polls.
Oh, God.
I mean, he wasn't very high to begin with. But then he got on this whole thing about what's the mandatory confiscation of AR-15s
and
nationwide.
that was his number 1 hit single that he wrote it and wrote it and wrote it.
And it was like, I'm here from this place where this happened. This is what we need to do. Which first off, it gives the right wing the argument that the left wing is trying to take their guns. Mm-hmm. And I've heard so many people say, well, you already have people on your side who are trying to confiscate guns. It's like, name someone else other than Beto O'Rourke who's even said that.
Who straight up like, no, I will take your guns.
Yeah.
That was his thing.
Anyone.
He was like, I have nothing left to hold on to. So I'm going to take the furthest left approach to gun control, and that's how I'm going to stick out.
It's like he couldn't outflank people on healthcare on the left. He couldn't outflank them on foreign
affairs.
None of the issues that people, minimum wage, free college, all of these things that are big talking points in the Democratic primary, he's not able to be on the left of any of those because he doesn't believe in that. So he takes the one thing that I think you'd have to be crazy to try and run on that. And I guess he was hoping some more people would buy it into it. But the other thing is, it's just flat out illegal. And like, you cannot, with the protections of the Constitution, mandate that you're going to take things away from people. Like it's an unconstitutional idea. So unless he's trying to get an amendment started or something, to put that as something that you're really going to try and promise with your campaign, I don't see that happening, man. Like,
no, it was outlandish.
It was outlandish. It was just him throwing it out there.
Ludicrous even.
Yeah. And that was it for him. After like a month after that, he was out. And he probably should have got out a lot earlier and ran.
He didn't even have to announce it. He just had to stop showing up.
For real. No one would have even asked. But he could have run another race in Texas where he was really close to beating Ted Cruz.
Who is the Zodiac killer.
And maybe he could have done something useful instead of, standing on coffee tables in Ohio or something. Coffee shop tables. Not just someone's coffee table in their house.
That would be incredibly rude. Bet though a rude is more like it.
All right. Well, should I do my bottom top?
Yeah. You know what? Since we kind of combined.
Yeah.
And we did that one together.
You did the other one.
No. You know what, David? You
Whoa.
Shut up, and you listen to my bottom top.
All right. Let's do it. Let's hear it.
My bottom third, or my top third, bottom top.
Oh my gosh, my T3.
my BT3.
Oh god, no, stop. I can hear the people clicking away.
and this one's really like kind of personal, because obviously it wasn't a great thing for a lot of people, and it's just a sign of the inefficiency that is this deadlocked, hard-headed government that we have.
No.
But the continuation of the government shutdown at the beginning of the year. And the main reason that this is in my top list was because as a result, I had a lot of government employees, people on government checks, bring in some of the coolest, most unique used gear.
Yeah.
I work at a big box retail music store, and I have seen in that moment in time, some of the "Don't you even do it, David? Don't you dare do it." I will. You put my career in jeopardy. I'll tank your career too, David. I'll take you down with me. I have the tapes. I may have deleted all the project files, but all the important stuff is in its own file.
Somewhere in there.
It's in the hard drive.
Yeah, it's in the hard
I know
drive.
exactly where it is.
It's in the emails.
But yeah, I saw some of the coolest used gear. Tons of like 80s Japanese Strats that I have never seen. One guy brought in just like a load of them. I got to play with this super cool old tape echo that I've never played with anything like before, and it actually ran. And my voice is still a little bit on that tape to whoever has it. It's like imprinted in there. Maybe by this time it's not.
Hilarious.
But somebody tried it out, and you could just hear me faintly going, "Check 1 2, check 1 2, check 1 2." It was pretty cool. But yeah, I just got to play with a lot of really dope gear, and it sucks because those people were selling things they probably wouldn't have normally sold because they had to make a little bit of extra income to get them through the gap.
Yeah.
But for Frank, it worked out fantastically, and a lot of customers got some really cool gear.
That is cool, man. I mean, what a weird moment. That happened, and this is weird. Last podcast, I told the story about going and spending Christmas with Michelle's family in Georgetown, Texas, and that same week, and the family is, they're, I won't say they're all Trump supporters, but they're mostly right-leaning, you know what I mean, for sure. And that was the week of like the government shutdown. It was like Christmas, you know what I mean? It was right after Christmas. And they were like, well, it could be shut down for who knows how long. And tensions were high. 2 of them work for the government.
Oof, yeah.
And it was just like, what is going on right now? Insane. I almost forgot about that entirely. The government shutdown.
It's been a long year, David.
It feels like an eternity. All right, my T3, my third top is it's going to be a video game. I was trying to think about something big this year. You know, what was the best game I played all year? It's the Resident Evil 2 remake, everyone. Hands down.
Nice.
There's no other choice. I was looking up at the shelf trying to think about what new has come out. I played a lot of Switch this year. Some great titles on the Switch. Nothing that I think came out this year. I mean, I just got Luigi's Mansion 3 yesterday. So I feel
so you really haven't spent enough time with it for it to be a favorite.
I can't say. I mean, I am delighted so far. It's amazing. But let's give it some time. Resident Evil 2 Remake, though, I feel like we haven't really talked about Resident Evil ever. Maybe a little bit on Apollo City Comics, but I'm like a diehard Resident Evil fan. I love the games. I hate the movies. I've only seen like the first one.
Well, that's because they're garbage, David.
They're bad. They're real bad. And the video games, for the most part, don't have a great storyline. Like, the acting's terrible. Things are barely held together. Like, they're trying really hard to make it all one cohesive story. But this Resident Evil 2 remake is just beautiful. They built the whole thing from the ground up. It plays amazing. It plays like butter. You know, you can do exactly what you want. Like, the movements, the gun aiming, like the mechanics of it are perfect. There's tension, which I feel like, you know, you play a scary video game, you don't have that. The thing that makes Resident Evil great is you have that feeling the entire time you're playing that you're about to run out of everything.
Yep. Like,
I have no more bullets. I have like 3 bullets left.
As soon as I use these last 3 things, I'm going to turn around the corner and there's going to be the boss and I'm going to be dead.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes it does happen. But it keeps you going barely. Like, it gives you, okay, here's a box of bullets, and then you walk into a room full of zombies and you're, oh my goodness, what do I got to do here? Great game. I love how it's so much more grounded, and I say that just like in the way that they're treating the story and the acting. It feels like a big budget Hollywood movie that's taking the material seriously, whereas before it was like intentionally B, or maybe unintentionally B, but this one feels right. It is kind of funny to me that they started this remake thing with 2, because I don't know if you heard, but they just announced that they're doing 3. Like, this week. They're going to be doing the Resident Evil 3 remake, and it's built in the same engine.
Just not going to do 1.
It's strange, right? They already remade 1, but on the GameCube. And it's like, that GameCube remake came out 4 or 5 years after Resident Evil 3.
Maybe they just don't want to do it again. They're like, hey, technically, you got your remake.
I guess. But that's the other thing, too. Like, old Resident Evil has... People complain about the tank control thing, you know what I mean? Which... really throws me off, because everyone's like, I like Resident Evil 4 because it doesn't have tank controls anymore. Resident Evil 4 has tank controls. I used to say this. It drives me insane when everyone says it doesn't have tank controls. When you move forward, you go forward. When you press back, you back up, and you have to go left and right to turn. Not to go left or right, but to change your positioning and where you're pointing. That is tank controls. But the old Resident Evils, like 1 through X or whatever, that's confusing. Those had fixed camera positions. That's the biggest thing that's different in this new one, is that it's behind the shoulder. But the point I'm trying to make is the GameCube one didn't change the gameplay. It just made everything look beautiful. So there's never been one of the original Resident Evil that's not tank controls and fixed camera.
It's like, yeah, if you're going to put out a whole new like remastered thing, don't just polish it.
Yeah.
Like, make it better.
Which is cool. It feels like such a bigger idea. I just hope they go back and do 1 now.
They should do that with GoldenEye, and then it might actually be fun to play.
Well, they did do it with GoldenEye. We actually played it on the channel.
Did I still hate it?
I don't think you hated it.
I'm going to have to go back and watch it.
You know what, though? I'm sorry. It never ended up coming out on the channel. Just a fun little side fact.
Is that one of our technical difficulties?
No, we have it. We were doing 2 out of 3.
Huh.
Actually, there's a small technical difficulty. And if you watch the couple of episodes of 2 out of 3 that we actually put out, the first episode we tried to do 2 games at once. We did like Call of Duty 2
it was going to be like 3 games.
We were going to do way more. And then when I started editing it, I was like, this is way too long.
Sometimes our ideas are very big.
Yeah.
And they don't need to be.
Yeah. Keep it simple. For sure. But anyway, Resident Evil 2, my game of the year, and I would have it no other way.
Nice.
All right, man. What do you have for us? What's your T2 Judgment Day?
My T2 is actually the new Terminator movie. No, I'm just kidding. They need to stop making those movies.
Yeah.
The first time I saw that trailer, I just started laughing because I was like, the only thing I was thinking was they're still doing it. I bet you it's going to be the same story.
That's what I heard.
And then it's like the same story, but they also like totally negate like the first two movies, I think, which is a travesty.
They keep
is it just
the first
T2?
two movies. It's a direct sequel to the second one. They pulled the new Halloween.
Oh,
just like the new Halloween. It's like a new sequel skipping most of the franchise.
It's like they were in the writer's room trying to figure out what they're going to do, and somebody told them what Halloween did, and they were like,
yeah,
if they did it, we can do it.
That's it. Do it.
That's what we do. That's how we make this easier. But actually, it is going to be movies.
Okay.
And it's funny because before you were talking about like you really didn't see anything sticking out in your mind, stinkers or winners.
Yeah.
We already talked about a big old stinker. Mm-hmm. But here's just a list of like...
Okay, give them to me.
Fun stuff that came out this year, David.
I'm excited.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which we discussed already.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a great movie.
Which is awesome.
It's a great movie. Although, I'm just devil's advocate over here.
What up, little devil?
I mean, maybe I need to sit on it longer. I wouldn't put it in my top 4 or 5 Tarantino movies, probably.
Oh, but that is like
I like
list.
It's
a tough.
It's a tough, thing to get in there.
When trying to list your favorite Tarantino movies, except for putting Inglourious Bastards first, from there it just gets incredibly hard.
I'm also Team Inglourious Bastard is the number 1, which seems sacrilegious, maybe to older people, but it's just beautiful.
Okay, boomer.
Pulp Fiction can be 2. Yeah, okay, boomer, get out of here. Movies aren't for you anymore.
Yeah.
And this is a movie we're talking about that's like 10 years old.
Yeah.
It's already old.
It Chapter 2, which wasn't really great for the right reasons, but it was a good time to watch, David.
That movie was funny.
Yeah.
I was laughing way more than I thought.
It was hilarious.
I just wish a couple things were different, but you know what? I'm not going to blame it Chapter 2. I honestly just think the source material is flawed. I don't know what else to say.
You know, David, I don't think calling one of Stephen King's stories flawed is going to get you in any hot water with anybody.
I guess that is
I think you're going to be all right.
That is a cold take.
That is the safest take you could possibly have. Godzilla King of the Monsters, David. That was a 2019 release.
Dang.
Dope.
Okay. You got me there.
Dope.
You got me there. Godzilla King of the Monsters is
David.
A fever dream, man. The colors.
God, when you finally get to see Mothra, oh my goodness.
I bought that thing on Blu-ray on Black Friday.
Realizing those 2 Japanese ladies were twins, and that's how they were in both places at the same time.
We're going to watch this movie right now as soon as we finish this.
What a good time. Midsommar, David, 2019 release. Fantastic time.
I did enjoy that movie. You know what?
The best depiction of psychedelics that I've ever seen on film.
Okay. I could give you that. It was good. I don't know. There's things I really liked about the movie. I don't know if I'm rushing to watch it again, though. That's just my honest opinion. It was great. It's a good, well-made movie. And it's weird to compare these two, but like for some reason, Midsommar and The Witch have like a similar vibe to me. Maybe it's just like
it creates a weird love triangle
thing
with Midsommar, The Witch, and Wicker Man.
Yeah, for reals though. Well, how could we forget our viewing of Wicker Man this year?
Oh my God. That was delightful because you guys had never seen it before, right?
No.
And I was just there all excited.
And it just keeps going further. We're talking about the Nicolas Cage Wicker Man.
What a delightful trip.
Yikes. Are you guys more movies? What else we got?
Yeah, I got a whole list of stuff that was awesome this year. The Irishman, which I know you haven't watched yet, but damn.
I'm disappointed myself that I haven't watched it yet.
Like, what a great way to spend 3.5 hours of your day. Fantastic.
I'll watch it this weekend.
El Camino, which had a lot of problems, but I was very much looking forward to.
I feel like I'm right there with you. Maybe we should have done a CLE on this one.
We probably should have. There was a lot to talk about there.
I don't think that El Camino is bad. I think there's part of it that feels a little unnecessary.
Oh, there was a ton of stuff that was unnecessary.
But the thing that feels good...
And a ton of stuff that was necessary that didn't happen.
Yeah. I just felt like I wasn't upset. And that's the best it could have gone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I wasn't expecting it to be this like groundbreaking story, but it would have been easy for them to bring it back and be like, why did you guys do this?
Yes.
That was not my feeling at the end of the movie. If anything, I was like, okay, there's some things in here that were nice to learn.
And because of the release of El Camino, I watched the entirety of Breaking Bad again.
Yeah.
Which was just dope.
That's a good time.
It was a fantastic time. Us came out 2019.
Ba-doom-doom.
Yeah.
I forgot about that, honestly.
That's funny.
That's a good... That's my favorite horror movie of the year.
It was
for sure.
It was great.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. Invader Zim Enter the Florpus, which was incredibly exciting when they announced it because it's the same writers, it's the same animating team, and it's dope. It's hilarious. It's a good watch, dude. Highly recommend. Also in the same vein, another thing that my inner child was ecstatic about when they announced Rocko's Modern Life, Static Cling. It's just like they hit me right in the 90s heart twice this year.
They're bringing it back.
And they both came out around the same time. God, what's that other one? Just the first CLE ever for David and Frankenbeans. Glass.
Glass was good.
Glass was good.
It was okay.
I mean, I think Split was the best one out of the three, you know?
Oof.
But I think I just carry, like, Unbreakable's, like, good.
Yeah.
It's really good. I think I had a better time in Split.
I really like Unbreakable, but man, Split is... Ooh, that's a good one. That's like his full return to form. You know what I mean? Like, The Visit was entertaining, but Split was like, here we go.
You almost want to forgive him for Lady in the Water after that one. You know what I mean?
Almost got over After Earth. Frank's face right now.
Oh, wasn't it just like I saw it in theaters, right? It was like with you and Danny.
You and Danny.
Oh, those stupid accents.
That could have been our first CLE.
Damn, dude.
I feel like George Seachy was there too.
That sounds right.
Seachy
to
was
me.
there. There was four
What a
of
weird
us.
like Boys' Day Out.
It was. There was a couple times that happened. Like when we went to go see that Bad Mirrors movie. Not Mirrors.
Because you guys thought I was going to be terrified. And that movie blowed.
Yeah, it did. It was bad. What is that movie called?
Oculus.
Oculus. Skip. Okay.
Big skip. That movie Mirrors was more scary for me, but I was also way deeper in my phobia at that time, I think is what it was. It's just me being
hilarious.
terrified. But yeah, I just feel like there were a lot of really awesome movie watching experiences. Obviously, movies that I haven't got around to seeing, or other movies that I did watch that didn't come out this year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I had a lot of really cool first watch this year. Saw Tombstone for the first time.
Oh,
Woo!
man.
Woo!
Ooh, Tombstone. What a classic.
My goodness.
Man, going into CLE was just fun because if nothing else, it's a good excuse to just watch some good movies.
Yeah, it's a great excuse to watch good movies.
and
And then you get this fun
kinda
like
analyze
writing
them.
exercise afafterwards.
Do a little bit of research.
Where usually you switch it up, but you just write book reports.
Every time.
It's amazing. I'm gonna put it on record right here. This is not a fixed thing.
It is not.
David legit somehow is pulling the book report over and over again.
And you know what? For the end of the year, I'm finally gonna do the pie graph. I'm gonna do like the complete CLE, and it's gonna be like 90%.
It's gonna be that meme, you know what I mean? Like with the other people, this people, and then like the joke with the little sliver. But you're gonna be the big part.
Yeah, for real. It's crazy how much I've gotten the book report, man.
Yeah, you suck at not getting the book report.
I'm terrible at
You're
it.
the worst at it.
And at this point, the odds are crazy that I keep getting it.
Statistical
I'm getting
anomaly.
it like 4 or 5 times in a row.
It's funny because you always tell me things like about like the fear of flying. Your big thing is like, do you realize statistically? And I'm always like, David, statistics are BS because you could always be the one. You're the one, true. Dude. You're the one for book reports. Hilarious. But that pretty much does it for my T2, man. I'm sure I could just keep listing movies that I saw this year for the first time. I was really excited to put Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse on here, but it actually came out December 2018, which almost made it.
I'm surprised
but I didn't watch it till like mid this year.
That seems like a long time ago too. Jeez.
It's fantastic.
That was a great movie right there, everyone.
God, in every way. There's nothing bad about that.
Nothing bad about it. Nothing bad about that. Okay, my T2. I'm going to go with recording music for Phantom Ken this year, which was great fun.
We got some singles out, man. One we're still sitting on to
Yeah.
release.
Yeah, we just need to do it. It's there. It's
Get
ready.
some artwork together.
The artwork thing is it's
We haven't had a task force on it like we did with
the other one. It was like
Stairwell.
We got to get some stairs.
Yeah, if you haven't had a chance to check it out yet, go over to Phantom Kin on your favorite streaming service and check out our latest release, Stairwell.
Yeah.
And stay tuned for Bloom.
Yeah, that one will be there soon. It was just exciting to kind of go in and record something in maybe what has been the most comfortable setting to do recording. Recording with Fede just felt real easy.
I would agree.
Something about, well, I mean, it's just because we know him probably, but recording, like,
I mean, the guys at Soundstage 9, like, great dudes.
Nice guys.
But it was way different.
it just felt so like, I don't know, maybe a little more pressure to do it. Maybe also because we were just younger and not as experienced in life and in music, maybe. We're talking like 5 years ago. That's a long time.
Yeah, for reals.
It was also exciting to kind of like compare them back to back, you know, because if you go to our Spotify, it does have our old tracks from, 5 years ago.
And you can see what we're talking about with ideas being way bigger than they need to be.
Yeah, for real. But it just seemed like we became better editors of ourselves. And I think everyone had a better performance this time around. You could tell that everyone
Did some growing.
And I think particularly like vocally across the board.
Not to like blow our own horns, but
No,
our
yeah,
harmonies are like
Yeah.
dialed.
I'm just trying to say objectively. Try my best anyway. Such better performances than what we had 5 years ago. So that's cool. It's cool to like track growth.
Yeah.
And I think about sometimes,
See our band's like height on the wall in the kitchen.
for real, yeah. And the channel, for instance, we've been doing this a separate project, but 2.5 years now almost.
Something like that.
On and off, different varying levels of intensity and
I mean, it took us a while just to decide like, yo, we need to like schedule this and do
Yeah.
it. You know what I mean?
Once
I
we-
remember that conversation. Like, hey, how
Yeah.
often are we going to do this?
and once we got into like the idea of, let's set this day aside and let's work on it. I feel like we've really not backed down from that, which is exciting.
No, it's like a thing. Like if things are moving around in my life, I'm like, well, this has to happen because
Yeah.
we do not stray from the schedule.
This
like
is
the
the
show must
schedule.
go on.
Yeah. But I think it's cool because we're also kind of creating like years from now, it will exist. You know what I mean? These recordings, these projects and everything.
I mean, we'll see.
Well, I mean, I guess
You never know.
I guess YouTube might go away, but it'll still be on a hard drive somewhere. You know what I mean? Like, I still have all of the final renders of everything.
If our robot overlords let us keep our hard drives.
Oh, that's true too. But I guess when you do a band or something, you don't get to record everything. This kind of goes back to my bottom thing before.
Yeah.
With Danny taking off, it was like, man, we just got the recording going. I wish we could have just put everything down. Maybe put more energy into just getting that done. But that would have been a lot of time and money.
Yeah, for reals. I feel like we squeezed pretty much everything that we could have.
Yeah.
Like with the lineup changes and the time that we had.
But the good part is, it's there. It's recorded. It's done. It's forever a piece.
It's mastered.
Yeah, it's mastered.
Bounced.
So that's cool stuff, man. It's always
Good stuff.
exciting.
That's a good top, David. I also enjoyed that. My tippity top for 2019.
Tip of the top.
The year of our
Chinese
Lord
chicken.
2019. And you might agree with this, you might not. I don't know how you feel about it, but you're in Michelle's wedding, man.
Oh yeah, it's my top
It
two.
was fantastic, man.
Well,
we had the same top, bottom, and the top. That's
That
fun.
is funny. That's cool. Well, just to clarify, mine was really going to be like Adult Moves 2019 because I feel like I had a bunch of big adulty things this year. Like we're in the house that I've purchased, my first home. You know what I mean?
You got those restraining orders placed against you?
Yeah. Got all the big adult stuff settled. But yeah, wedding, man. I feel like, well, we literally had a whole podcast.
Yeah, like we took
On
an
this
hour and a half
topic.
to talk about this, and
Yeah.
we don't have to get into it again. But just like, the adventure of the week of the wedding,
Yeah.
like got a whole bunch of firsts that I have never done before with people who I immensely enjoy and love.
Cool
And
stuff. Yeah.
I call you guys like my chosen family because that's what it is.
Yeah,
I like.
that's really what it is.
I got like mad love for you guys. And I'm not forced to be around you, so it's super cool. Just the beauty of like seeing two people like care a whole bunch about each other, like couple their lives together.
I gotta say, I feel very fortunate too, man. I think about some friends who've just had bad turns of luck with this thing, and it seems like it was just always so easy. Like we just happened to meet, and that was just it. It was like, okay, well, this is done. You know what I mean? It never seemed like. I mean, obviously, every relationship has, hardships. People get in arguments about things, yada yada yada. It's natural.
Yeah, that's life.
But to just, man, it just. I see some friends who are like searching for it. You know what I mean? They're looking for it. I'm like, dang. I never had to do that.
Like we just found each other.
Yeah.
We just had a crappy mutual friend who introduced us.
And it was the most weird, like you would never expect to meet someone so significant to your life in such a trivial manner. But that's just how life is, I guess.
Yeah, so that's just the way it is.
You don't know how things are going to happen.
That's the truth. That's the whole truth of it, man.
Yeah. I agree with you on the trip thing though, man. Like, wedding aside, like even if we didn't get married that week, if we had just chosen to go for a week to Las Vegas, it would have been
probably
a great
been
week.
a top. Like,
yeah,
I had never seen the Grand Canyon before. You know what I mean?
That was one of the highlights for me, man.
Like,
yeah, I'm talking just like the week. Like going to the casinos was cool and hanging out and all that stuff. Like there was some crazy stuff to see, but the Grand Canyon,
like
my God,
can you stress enough how hard it is to put it into words how awe-inspiring the Grand Canyon is. Like, it's insane.
There's no way to know without being there.
Yeah, like seen pictures of it, seen a bunch of movies of the Grand Canyon, but just like standing there looking at it.
Yeah,
my goodness, crazy.
Yeah, that's amazing. That is amazing.
Absolutely mind-boggling. You know what I mean? A lot of mind-boggling parts about that week.
And then one other thing I was going to add to my top part over here, going to Canada was so cool, and like really experiencing another country and like really experiencing people's different kinds of attitudes. It's just interesting.
Some ratitudes and some batitudes.
Yeah, for real. And a lot of barbecue sauce in Canada. But it was great. I'd love to go back. And I'm sure we will. One day. You get timing right and everything. But wow, what a big year. I think about it, it's the biggest year of my life for sure. You know what I mean? There's never been a year where more has happened all at once. Sets the bar high. Man, next year's going to be lame. Who knows, man? Who knows what'll happen next year?
I turn 30 next year.
Oh, because you're a December baby.
Yeah, I'm a December baby. That's pretty crazy. That's pretty.
We got to figure out what we're going to do for 30. It seems like Michelle's really trying to wiggle out of going to Japan. She doesn't want to do it. She wants to go somewhere else.
I mean, she's just afraid she's going to be way too loud, but
I think it's more than the loud thing. I think she's not letting on how out of culture we're going to be in Japan. You know what I mean? I'm
totally aware of it.
That's the part that I'm most down for. Yeah, exactly. But man, if we do go to Japan, talk about the opportunity for some great content.
Yeah, for reals.
Yeah. We did a Japan trip. Dang. Podcast on the airplane. The audio quality will be awful.
It's so loud.
Yeah.
The baby's crying. Me having multiple panic attacks.
Oh, that is a plane flight, man.
Yeah, my
And I'm
goodness.
just going to be watching Lost
There's
season 1.
two things that I hate: being on a plane and being over the ocean.
Ooh, and you're going to do both for a long time.
God, but at least I won't be like on a boat.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
I just went like on a rant. I have a lot of birthdays in December. Like my brother's is tomorrow. Last night was my niece's, so we were like hanging out, having conversations, and I was just going on a rant about like a cruise we went on, like as kids. And then my parents just like, when they told me it was happening, I was just like, guys, why? Like, not down. Horrible idea. And the whole time leading up to it, they're convincing me, no, we're gonna have a good time. We're gonna get day one on the boat, seasick, and I'm just like, this sucks. I hate boats.
That's
I like being
hilarious.
on a little boat, like in a lake.
Yeah,
I want to be out in the middle of the ocean. That's not safe out there, David. That's not our world.
that's not. But
The ocean is vast and mysterious.
yeah, but on those big cruise liner ships, I mean, it's probably the safest kind of ship you can be
A
on.
bunch of people on a cruise liner just died in New Zealand when that volcano exploded.
Oh, I'm sorry. I know these
Tell that
volcanoes
to
are
them,
blowing up in
David.
the ocean every day.
Tell that.
That's just the most common thing
them.
to happen.
What
for
about the Bermuda Triangle, David?
sure. What about the Titanic,
What about
David?
giant
What
sinkholes?
about What about Jack and Rose and all those English people on that
What
ship,
about all
David?
those crazy sea monsters you see on the old timey maps? They got to still be in there somewhere,
Yeah,
David.
Somewhere. It's a deep ocean.
Oh boy.
They're underneath all the plastic.
Yeah, for reals.
Ooh,
Yeah,
well,
so that'll be a fun flight.
I guess it's time for Peeps and Predicts, man.
No, David.
It's
Hold your
not.
horses.
Oh my goodness.
It's time for. Oh, that is interesting. Which is not the official title, so that's interesting, but just wanted to stretch.
Yeah, TM.
Vamp just a little bit.
Oh, that is interesting.
Uncontract the contraction.
That's
if
for
you
the
will.
extra interesting episodes.
Yes. And I have a little something planned for you, David. It is my turn.
Oh no.
I feel like you've been taking the helm at this for a little while now because I just kept forgetting that this is something that we had to do. I'll be 100% honest.
And
You know what I mean?
ironically, I forgot it today.
Yeah. But I had something prepared this time,
Okay.
which is really nice. We're going to talk about the future, David.
Okay.
We're going to talk about the plans that the powers of be at the Department of Defense, have in store for us, David.
Oh no. This sounds depressing. Okay, what are we doing?
Countdown to Robo-Apocalypse.
Oh no.
In a study titled Cyborg Soldiers 205, Human/Machine Fusion and the Implications for the Future of the DoD. It's a study done by the U.S., and this is a mouthful, I'll be honest.
Okay.
The U.S. Army Combat Capabilities Development Command Chemical Biological Center.
Ugh, that's
They
a lot.
really need to figure out
That's a lot
an
of
acronym
C's.
or something.
There's too
you know
many
what I mean?
C's in
It's
there
not
for a
good.
good acronym.
It's not good. The primary objective of this effort was to determine the potential of machines that are physically integrated within the human body to augment and enhance the performance of human beings over the next 30 years. And that's a direct quote from like the researchers. The study identifies poor public perception, for example, not wanting to be wiped out by our robot overlords, as a huge barrier in the mass adoption of cybernetics. And I've joked about on the channel before, we did like a body
Oh, body mod.
modification.
Yeah, we did
right?
body
We did like
modification.
body mod thing.
Episode 17. No, I'm just joking.
I would be shocked if that was true,
I'm just
David.
joking. I have no idea. I'm gonna look it up now.
That'll be really exciting. This is another quote from the study. Across popular social and open source to media, literature, and film, the use of machines to enhance the physical condition of the human species has received. Excuse me, I'm all
you gotta burp
I'm all
over there or
burpy
something.
and hiccupy, and I can't read my own handwriting, and it's just the perfect storm of like how not to do a podcast.
just to give you a second to clear yourself out. Body modifications was episode 4.
That's nuts. That was a long time ago.
Turns out it was just in August. No, I'm just joking.
We were just little pod babies, David.
for reals though.
Podlings.
Podlings, pod people.
All right. So yeah, they're basically saying like in social media we have a really bad connotation of like cybernetics, which is like I've pretty much been going on lightly throughout this entire episode, dropping little Easter eggs. It was fun for me because you didn't know what was happening. It just sounded like a crazy person. And continue the craziness. Researchers focused on 4 probable areas of enhancement: supervision, augmented hearing, enhanced muscles, David, and this is a direct quote, direct neural enhancement of the human brain, for two-way data transfer. So uploading and downloading information between your brain and some type of service.
You know what? I saw a clip about this, or I saw an article about this because they were making jokes about the whole I know Kung Fu thing from The Matrix.
Yeah.
Where he just uploads how to do like whatever it is, jujitsu, I think is what it was.
And that's like what they're trying to do. I'm sure it'd be more something like Battlefield, like updates from satellites, you know what I mean? So you know exactly what's happening on the battlefield.
Yeah.
One of the big things they were talking about, and this is I'm going to read directly from the Vice article. I pulled a lot of this information from for these next couple of chunks, but one of the repeating things throughout every section where they're talking about these cybernetic enhancements is like, it would be totally on a volunteer basis. At first, they don't say that part, but you know, that's how things start. That's me putting that in there.
And then when it works out, they're like, okay, you got to do it.
Oh, you didn't read that tiny little part in your contract when you signed on? That's unfortunate. But basically, they would be taking like soldiers who suffer injuries, the soldiers with an injured tissue in their eye. They would present this to them, and then the soldier would have the option to have the surgery done to replace that damaged tissue, because they said they don't imagine somebody getting rid of healthy tissue for a cybernetic enhancement. So people with like brain damage, they get augmented brains. People who suffer injuries to their body would get like these crazy muscle things going. If it got really blown up, you might just be a whole rover clap. Who knows? Who knows how they plan to do this? Terrifying.
Yeah, for real.
So, as far as the enhanced vision, the Pentagon predicts a world where enhanced soldiers have cybernetically enhanced eyes that allow them to see across the battlefield in different wavelengths, much like the Predator, and identify targets in dense urban environments or subterranean megacities that will challenge identification and tracking of targets.
Much like the Predator in Predator 2.
True. True. The research mentioned, but it's just that's the part I was talking about like it not being forced upon soldiers, but
yeah, it will.
Some would say taking the opportunity of a soldier being maimed to try to turn them into a robo soldier. With the muscles, this is pretty crazy. I'm just going to read this. The trend of fixing falling soldiers with cybernetics continues with optogenic musculoskeletal control systems. The most likely use would be in the restoration of lost function due to injury of muscles or nerves. Musculoskeletal I'm struggling with this. I'm not a doctor. My brother's going to be one. Yeah. But that has nothing to do with me.
We can bring John on to pronounce medical words.
I'll probably get in here. Just make a call really quick. Musculoskeletal injuries are the second leading cause of loss of duty time in the U.S. Armed Forces. To enhance muscles, the Pentagon would enhance weak tissue with a network of emplaced subcutaneous sensors that deliver optogenic stimulation through programmed light pulses. The researchers said optogenic stimulates muscle tissue or even neurons with light instead of electricity. So it uses the light to get everything to twitch off.
Oh my gosh.
Which has got to be insane because skin isn't super thick. You'd probably... I've been memeing so hard that it's just changed my pronunciation of things. Wow. It's a terrible thing. The human body would have an array of small optical sensors implanted beneath the skin in the body areas that need to be controlled. These sensors could be manifested as thin optical threads that are placed at regular intervals over critical muscle and nerve bundles and are linked to a central control area designed to stimulate each node only when the muscle below it are needed. According to the study, this could allow wounded soldiers to return to the battle with cybernetic muscles that operate better than their meat alone did. I'm sure that's not the terminology they used in the study, but we're reading from Vice, so what are you going to do? They're like me, but worse, because they're getting paid for it. It could also allow them to control external tools such as drones and weapon systems not directly attached to their body, like some weird, crazy power-up in a Call of Duty game or something. Or it would let someone else control them remotely, which is a big concern with all this stuff. Cause like if somebody's a cyborg and they're connected to all these networks, like then inherently somebody could hack it. You know what I mean? And I don't know how hacking works. Probably not like it does in 90s movies.
Yeah.
I would guess.
Like The Matrix.
Yeah.
For its third mention today.
But it could happen.
Wow.
So cybernetic ears, they're basically just like hearing loss is a huge problem in the armed forces. There's like a big class action lawsuit going on right now because they gave them non-ample hearing protection. So that's just a thing. So
That's
obviously they're
interesting.
going to replace. And it's funny because I was just joking about robot ears when we were at the range the other day because I was wearing my my active hearing protection,
Yeah.
which enhances everything, but it also like protects your hearing because it clips everything.
Do they use that in the military?
In special forces, they use like very similar stuff, but there's also like comms in it and stuff. Like your walkie-talkie
Okay.
goes through it, but it's essentially the same thing.
But does everyone have one of those?
No, not everyone. A lot of them are using those crappy little foam ones,
Which
and that's why they
seems
have class action lawsuits.
Ridiculous. And you can't hear anything once those things are in.
Nothing.
That's dangerous.
Everything sounds like a Charlie Brown adult.
Like we're spending trillions of dollars on the military. We can't shell out what $80 a pop to get these guys some nice noise reducing head so their ears aren't destroyed by gunfire.
Yeah, for reals.
Oh, but anyways,
Guns
sorry.
are loud.
Oh yeah,
But they're essentially getting ready to do. They're anticipating having a way more high tech, much more sophisticated way of just making that their hearing. You know what I mean?
yeah, just doing it.
You could hear everything, and like you'd have that built-in compression to like take out the super loud noises, which I'm sure you hear a lot of in the armed forces.
I mean, I'd be so down if that was an option.
And then they're gonna have some weird piece of code in there that doesn't let you silence stuff at like 6 a.m. when they wake you up for training. Just enhances everything.
Jeez, right?
Just wake you right up. Onto like the craziest part.
Okay.
The crown jewel of cybernetic enhancements is direct interface between the human brain and machines. The Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, little ditty known as DARPA, has been working on the technology for years. It has already successfully tested prosthetic memory chips. Even Elon Musk is working on neural implants with the goal of achieving symbiosis with artificial intelligence. The Pentagon study suggests a future where humans with neural implants are jacked into a matrix that allows them to control machines. 4. Have machines control them and to control each other. The enhancement would not simply entail user control of equipment, brain to machine, but also transmission to operator, machine to brain, and human to human. But probably not great. No. Command and control dynamics to enhance situational awareness as drone, computational, analytical, and human information is relayed to the operator. So constantly just like updating your awareness of the battlefield and what's changing around it.
Okay.
Cybernetically enhanced soldiers could control drones and complicated weapon systems remotely with the power of their mind. The problem is, unlike some of the other technologies discussed, there probably won't be a non-invasive way to achieve symbiosis between soldier and machine. Go figure. Just making you half machine is going to be a little bit invasive. Because of that, the researchers suggested that the neural links be restricted to an elite class of soldier, like the Navy SEALs, who may be amenable, mispronounced amenable. If they could provide significant improvements in capability, lethality, survivability, and overall battlefield superiority, according to the report. And then in the article, they just go to talk about unexpected consequences, but I think we can all infer what those consequences would be.
Yeah.
But it's just crazy. These are their projections for the next 30 years. They're expecting these things to be reality by 2050, David.
Part of me is concerned about it. There is a small part of me that hopes it never happens, kind of like, people making Blade Runner in the 80s. Like, we'll have flying cars in 2019.
Horrible idea. People can't drive on the road.
No. Yeah, right? It'd be so hard to maintain. Everyone have to be on autopilot. But anyway, it just seems, God, it seems like we're not going to learn our lesson. Like every sci-fi dystopia tells us, hey, don't build these robots. Don't build these enhancements. This will be the downfall of humanity. What do? We say, nah, it'll be pretty cool though.
And the Pentagon says, like, that's the big problem. Like, hey, this always gets used in a dystopian sense for the purpose of entertainment. But also, like, yo, for reals, though, like, this might...
Yeah.
Whenever we make a huge advancement in technology, there's a huge population of the powers that be who want to figure out how to use that to kill our enemies more efficiently. And then with something so high tech, we have no idea what we're getting ourselves into.
The
dude.
ramifications.
Oh my goodness.
You know, the only thing you have to, you know, give them, not credit, but if the U.S. Army doesn't start doing this, someone else will do it first. And that's probably the mentality. To be like, we need to try out this experimental stuff that we don't even know if it works yet.
Constant arms race, you know what I mean?
Because we can't have them Chinese figuring it out. Yeah, that's an alarming one, man. But not that surprising. I mean, we're almost interfaced with our technology as it is. You know,
I mean, it's not like we're constantly like on our devices or like I have one in my hand and one directly in front of me behind that.
Yeah, Frank is double screening it right now, which is the way to go.
To be fair, the other screen's just there because it's recording our voices right now.
But you're still double screening it.
True. And I have like several GUIs open like on this screen to monitor different things.
That's hilarious. Geez, man, that's terrifying, but also really cool. And that is interesting.
Thank you, David. I also thought it was interesting.
Yeah, I like that.
And that's like legit when I started reading the story, that's one of the first thoughts I had, like, oh, that is interesting.
That is interesting.
And that's when I texted you to make sure we were doing a podcast, and I was like, saving this article. Bookmark, por favor. Siri, bookmark this.
It's a nice plan. Nice play.
Now
nice
it's
shot.
time.
Now it's time for Peeps and Predicts. Our last segment where we have a hypothetical debate here. Well, no, we have a very real debate about a hypothetical situation. So we draw out two peeps from the peep jar. I will have the pleasure of doing that today.
A pair of peeps, if you will.
Oops, I hit the mic. I was just trying to shake it.
That's okay, David. Nobody's hit the mic yet. We had to do it, or it wouldn't have been us.
It wouldn't have happened. The podcast wouldn't have happened. Wow. Okay, we have Viserys Targaryen against Joffrey Baratheon.
Wow.
So we have two of the brattiest Game of Thrones characters. And what's their situation, Frank?
Well, the situation is, David, who's more likely to be on the Joe Rogan Experience? Either way, crazy episode. And even better edits.
Okay, so they're both dead. They're both fictional. Let's get that out of the way right now.
Yeah. Which makes this easier.
Mm-hmm.
Or harder, depending on how you want to look at it.
Ooh. Okay, I'm going to open up the argument with this. Viserys Targaryen would want to be on the Joe Rogan Experience because he's trying to claim his rightful dominion. You know what I mean? He is.
It'd be like a way more intense version of the Edward Snowden episode.
Yeah, exactly. He'd be like on some webcam from Westeros being like, I'm the last dragon. You know what I mean? Joffrey, I feel like, wouldn't even acknowledge someone else's thing. Like, he wouldn't want to be on that. He's the king. I am the king.
Why would I be on his podcast? He should be on my podcast.
Yeah, I could see that for sure. For Joe Rogan's sake, too, I'd also hope that it would be Viserys. Because Joffrey might just kill him.
We'll have somebody kill him.
Yeah. He wouldn't
kill himself. Because Joe Rogan would mess him up.
He's like a silverback gorilla.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I would have to go with Viserys on this one. It would make the more interesting episode out of the two of them.
I think so. I could listen to Viserys longer than Joffrey. So that's another, that's
the whole JRE episode would just be Joffrey talking about like how he is king.
Yeah, that would get really tired after like a minute.
Horrible.
Yeah. He's like, Jamie, pull up that I am king. See, look, I'm king.
Jamie, pull up that picture of Ned Stark's head on my wall.
Ooh, they would have a good conversation about crossbows, though. I bet.
Oh yeah, I bet they could get
Yeah,
into
they
it.
could get
Although it would turn dark very fast.
Very fast. Too dark.
Oh, dude, you're into crossbows? Yeah, I love crossbows. I love shooting prostitutes with them, and that's about it. It's my favorite thing to shoot with a crossbow.
Why don't you give us another predicament here? Let's get one more.
Prostitutes in the series that I'm in. Second predict.
Yeah.
For these two, I don't even want to call them gentlemen. This one's folded nice and tight. Nice and taut. Who is more likely to be a secret serial killer Joffrey Baratheon?
Yeah. I mean, is Joffrey's a secret, though?
Well, no, like that is a very good argument, David, because, well, how big of a secret, you know what I mean? Because not everybody knows, like everybody in the whole kingdom. It's like a not well kept secret, but it is like kept within the people who need to know that this is a sick pup.
And we don't know if Viserys even has it in him to kill someone.
He mostly whines.
He has it in him to sell his sister.
I want my crown.
Yeah.
Give me my crown.
But it doesn't seem like he ever had the will to do the dirty work himself.
No, or the strength, I don't think.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to have to tiebreaker this thing, man. I feel like it has to be Joffrey.
Yeah, dude's got serial killer written all over him, man.
That dude's insane.
Even if he wasn't a king, he was just some pauper out in the streets. He'd be killing people out there, man.
He'd be a murderer.
This is a sick little boy.
He'd be the Jack the Ripper of Westeros.
David, why don't you get us this little tiebreaker here, man, just for fairness.
Okay. Let's see here. And inside we have
a headphone adapter.
I don't know what that's doing in the predicament jar. Oh my gosh, I took out too many. Now that's a
It's for when we can't find the headphone adapters.
Yes,
and it's in the jar where it's not supposed to be.
One. Who would make a better ballet dancer?
Wow, I just put that one in there today.
How funny.
Because we watched the Nutcracker the other day.
The Nutcracker
featuring
is great.
Macaulay Culkin.
Wow.
And my God. Dude. Just crazy, you know what I mean? And that girl's doing that tiptoe thing and just standing there, and the guy pulls her across the stage, and you can see his arm shaking from like how much force is being applied.
That is pretty
She's just
crazy.
like a statue. It's insane.
Man, what a staging.
Crazy.
What a staging.
I will say Viserys looks graceful.
Yeah, he looks more...
He's got the frame, I think. Mm-hmm. I don't think Joffrey has the strength to be a ballet dancer.
Yeah, or the patience.
No.
Although I don't think you could describe Viserys as a terribly patient person either. That's tough. I'm kind of leaning Viserys too as well, though. I think Joffrey would think it's dumb.
Yeah.
Maybe Viserys would as well, but Viserys at least seems to have some kind of like, not respect, but recognition of like the high class of nobility.
And tradition.
Yeah, Joffrey's just there to shoot prostitutes with
crossbows. I am the king because my dad was the king.
Yeah.
What?
And we'll do whatever I want to do. And I think that's dumb. He couldn't even get through that play.
True.
At his own coronation? Wedding?
Funeral? Assassination?
All of the above?
Yeah.
All right. So let's go ahead and end this thing. We have Viserys Targaryen, the last dragon, against the Winchester brothers, as seen on CW Supernatural.
That probably should have never met.
No.
But thanks to the folks at David and Frankenbeans, here we are talking about them in the same light.
Who would successfully escape a maximum security prison? And I'm just going to start this off with saying it's probably the Winchesters. Even though we're not that familiar with them, all I really know about them is they know how to get out of a jam. The two brothers, they're resourceful. All I know about Viserys is it's kind of useless.
I mean, if he had a dragon, game over.
Yeah.
No dragons.
But Viserys never even had one.
Nope. Not never. He doesn't even know what they look like.
No. That guy was dead before that.
True.
Viserys is lucky. No, not even lucky.
I mean, he's lucky he lived as long as he did.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. The only reason Khal Drogo even entertained the small amount that of patience he gave him.
In-laws,
He even entertained him. Yeah. He just wanted something from him. And then the second he realized, oh, I don't even need to put up with this.
What do I need this whiny little baby for?
Yeah.
Gonna dump some hot metal on his head.
Yeah, Viserys wouldn't be able to make it out of maximum security prison because if he was in there, he would succumb to just being like hopeless.
He would just be talking about what he was owed and why he shouldn't be in there.
Yeah.
And if there's one thing I learned from A Way Out, other than you and I both go for the junk if we're riddling somebody with bullets, is escaping prison's a team effort.
Team effort. That is what A Way Out told us. It was like, this will be way easier with two.
Even if you're just pressing X, David. Even if you're just pressing X, you need a friend there.
A Way Out. The press X simulator. Move a little bit, press X. Move over here, press X.
Hey, have you tried coming over here and press an X?
Oh, whoa. I didn't know I could press X over here.
I mean, sometimes I had you like hold X for a second. You know what I mean? Like twist an analog stick.
Occasionally tap X.
Yeah, true.
Which is really just pushing X rapidly.
Yes. Several instances of pressing X in quick succession.
I just hope that if the Winchesters are in prison, that's because there was like a ghost or a demon in the prison. They went in there to exorcise a prison ghost and then had to escape. That's an episode of Supernatural. I'm going to write that.
Are they still doing Supernatural?
I think it's ending this season, man.
That's crazy. Well, you better get riding fast, man.
We should CLE the last episode.
That actually sounds kind of fun because I have like no context. It'll be the only episode of Supernatural that I've ever seen.
It'd be like watching the last episode of Lost.
Like, man, a lot of this did not make sense.
Who are all these people? What? Well, man, here we are again. Another
the
episode.
Winchester brothers ride again.
What is
somehow.
happening? What is happening? Who knows? But they might be here forever.
Out of all the characters who have walked into this arena who you like hope are going to stick around for a while and then just get booted out the next week, it's weird. We'll see how long the Winchester brothers stick around.
They're number 2 right now, probably, like on length of streak.
No, I feel like, I mean, Batman was obviously the longest. I feel like we talked about Scott Stapp for a little while. I might be mistaken about that.
I think it was only like 2 episodes, man. It wasn't that far.
Is the Winchester brothers like 3 weeks already?
This is their 3rd week being champ, I think.
That's crazy.
I'm pretty sure. We have to go back and look at it. I need to do some end of the year statistics. And I'll just go in. WeDAP at a glance.
Well, we done made it through another episode.
We did. Here we are. Thanks for sticking with it.
Nothing really bad happened, except for all the bad stuff we talked about that already happened.
Oh, God. Yeah, but let's not bring that up again.
If you have any suggestions for things you would like us to talk about, send us an email at We Did a Podcast.
At David and Frankenbeans
at gmail.com. That's what the pacing really was. I was stalling trying to remember what the email was.
You could also do We Did a Podcast at gmail.com, though. I still have that open. So
I was just going to say we just won't get it.
Yeah. Send us a YouTube comment. Just do that.
If you have any suggestions for Peeps and Predicts, get it to us somehow. Leave it on the YouTube. Leave it on the Instagram. Leave it on the Facebook.
Yeah.
Write us a letter, although you'll have to guess because we've given none of our personal information out.
Write it on a little note and put it inside a book and leave that book on the New York subway.
Yeah. And somebody will get it. Somebody will find it. Might do something horrible with that book, but who knows?
Yeah.
And you know what? Stay safe. Hug your loved ones.
Oh.
And don't be afraid to try mayonnaise and barbecue sauce together because it's delicious.
That sounds scary.
It's so good. I haven't done it in a long time. I don't know, maybe think about it right now, but that's the wisdom that I'm going to pass on to you.
Interesting.
And that one's for free. It's all for free. We don't charge you for anything.